someone we all think of when we think of boxing. Listen to this. Imagine a man who grew up in hardship, who went down in boxing history and was compared to Muhammad Ali. Yes, this is Roy Jones Jr.
Roy Jones Jr. is considered to be the last chosen one in the world of boxing legends.
The man we all looked up to as kids. On January 16, 1969, he met the world in Florida. This day was perhaps the beginning of a great adventure. His father, Roy Jones Sr., was also a boxer, and he wanted to teach his son. He became a trainer and a father to him. A family tradition of boxing sparked Roy Jones' interest in the sport and helped him enjoy what he was doing. Part 1. Early age and the beginning of a boxing career. If we want to start a business and be successful in it, the most important thing to do is to start at the earliest age. That's what Roy Jones did. At the age of 16, he started his amateur boxing career. The Southeast Regional Middleweight Championship in 1988 was one of the turning points of his boxing career. The decision in this fight became one of the most controversial in boxing history.
I won all 3 rounds clearly, but
Section 2. The beginning and rise of a professional career. Roy Jones had a fast start to his professional career and rose quickly. Jones's remarkable speed, athleticism, and skill quickly led him to many important victories.
Roy Jones Jr.
In the mid-1990s, Jones won titles at middleweight and super middleweight. Yes, it was 1993. James Toney and Roy Jones Jr. were in the ring for a championship fight. The winner would be crowned middleweight champion of the world. Toney was very experienced. James Toney was one of the most feared and respected boxers in the middleweight division at that time. He was known for his powerful punches, his defensive skills, and his hard-hitting style. However, Roy Jones Jr. agreed to face Toney to overcome this reputation. On November 5th, the fight took place. Jones put on an outstanding performance against Toney. With his speed, technical skills, and superior skills, he neutralized Toney and overwhelmingly outclassed him. Toney's facial expression just before the 10th round was the first time he had ever seen anyone better than himself. This fight caused a sensation in the boxing world. Everyone thought he was going to be a future star. This win was the first step for Roy Jones to make his name in the world. Part 3. Summit and spectacular performances. Sometimes it is very difficult to reach the top, but when the time comes, you get closer to the top. You have one more obstacle to be the best. If you get knocked out here, the other matches you win won't matter. Roy Jones was in the same situation. Roy wanted to defend his title as IBF middleweight champion of the world. This time, his opponent was a boxing legend. One of the most memorable fights in boxing history was between Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins. Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins were two of the biggest names in boxing history. Both had won titles and achieved countless victories in their careers. When these two legendary boxers faced each other, it was a huge event for the boxing world. The fight between Jones and Hopkins was much more than a rivalry between two great boxers. It was a battle for dominance between two legends. The match was about to start soon. Everyone was excitedly waiting for the match. They had been excited about this match for weeks. The boxers were taking the field. They must have been excited to be in this great atmosphere. Both fighters wanted to put psychological pressure on each other. They both wanted to win the fight very badly. As I said, the winner of the fight would win the title of middleweight champion of the world.
This man can fight.
This title comes with great respect and prestige in the boxing world, and a championship is the best achievement for a boxer. But in this fight, there would be only one winner. The match started. It was time to show who was better. The match started fast. Both sides were very ambitious and in good shape. They wanted to win this title. Bernard was punching hard, but Roy was too fast. He couldn't keep up with him. Roy was traveling around the ring. Both sides were struggling, but it was usually Roy who put the pressure on. Bernard was very surprised how his opponent was so fast. Roy kept throwing hard punches, but Bernard was badly damaged by the blows. Roy turned the fight in his favor. It was now a foregone conclusion. Roy swung his fists for the last time. By the end of the last round, everyone was excited. Roy had the pressure in general, but Bernard was also very good. And the winner was Roy! I think Bernard didn't take too many risks in this match, because Roy was very fast in the ring, and Bernard couldn't keep up with him. I think it's easier for me to say that from the screen. As a result, Roy retained his title once again. Now let's talk a little bit about Roy's achievements and records. IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBF championships. Jones has won world titles in the middleweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight, super middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight categories throughout his career. Jones is also one of the rare boxers to have held world titles in more than one weight class at the same time. The fact that he was simultaneously champion in the welterweight and heavyweight categories is a feat that makes him unique. In addition, at the peak of his career, Jones had a long period of dominance over his opponents. During this period, Jones' speed, skill, and ring intelligence made him an almost unbeatable force against his opponents. Part 4. The decline and end of Roy's career. Rise fast, sink fast. You know, no matter how good you are, after a few years, you will be the loser, because the years will win against you. Unfortunately, Roy Jones went through that. Like everybody else, Roy's prime was over, and he had a retirement waiting for him. Jones's career decline began in the early 2000s. Jones started to fight in the heavyweight category and did not have the same success there. One of the defining moments of Jones's career decline was when he faced Antonio Tarver 3 times. Jones won the first fight, but lost the next 2. These fights showed that Jones was losing his edge in the ring and starting to age. Roy, who was also rapidly advancing in age, was no longer as fast and agile as he used to be. Roy Jones's career continued after his retirement, but it was clear that he was not as good as before. A succession of defeats and a decline in performance signaled the end of his legendary career. That's all for our video. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked it. Always for the love of the ring.